Now, you haven't read about him because he's not a star horse. He's just a 5-year-old gelding, and he's winning in starter allowance races. We'll tell you about that. But we're going to start today's show with an interesting guest. His name is Don August of the HorseRacingNation.com. And Don's going to be contributing to the show throughout the year with little interviews that he'll pass along. And we're going to hear an interview later on in the program with jockey Kyle Frey. So we want to welcome to the show Don August. Good morning, Don.
Good morning, Sam.
Tell me, your background was in the newspaper business, writing for the Contra Costa Times, and you enjoyed horse racing, so you came out to the track and became knowledgeable, and I guess your passion led you to starting up this column blog about horse racing here in Northern California.
Yeah, I started going to the races when I was young. My dad used to bring me all the time, and I wanted to stay in the sport somehow, and since I had a background in writing, I decided I wanted to write about racing, and I approached HorseRacingNation.com about a year ago, and I wanted to see if they needed any bloggers from Golden Gate Fields, and they were looking to get a lot of original content in, and we hooked up, and it's been a great experience for me ever since.
All right, so how do you go about your job and your stories and making contact with people and coming up with interesting ideas?
Well, I have to come up with a blog every Monday, and so I go to the track usually on the weekends. I look for horses or jockeys or trainers that are having a good meet, a good week, anything that's interesting to the Bay Area public. The jockeys and trainers have been very receptive to my interviews with them. And it's just a fun job to go out there and find something very interesting that I'd like to write about and want to pass on to the public.
And recently, over the last year, who are some of your subjects been?
Well, I've done stories on, of course, Jerry Hollendorfer's Chase for 6,000. We've done stories on when Positive Response was really a big thing, winning the California Derby. Now we're trying to get more into the smaller stories of the sport, some of the jockeys that people don't know, some of the trainers that people don't know, and any horses that are piquing the interest of the public that may not be on front page news.
All right, we're chatting with Don August of HorseRacingNation.com. You say your column comes out on Monday?
Every Monday, I go down to the track on the weekends and take pictures to go with my blog. And just looking for anything exciting to bring out there. And every Monday has a brand new blog on Bay Area Backstretch.
So in the endangered species of workers, we've put the photographer out of work. We put the writer out of work. We got the guy doing all the jobs himself. He takes the pictures. He picks out the subject and takes the pictures, interviews the person. And then on Monday, you can read it in HorseRacingNation.com. So when you go to HorseRacingNation.com, there are other blogs on there about racing around the country?
Yeah, I think when I started, the site's been going on for 2.5 years. When I started, I think I was the second or third original content blogger that they had. Now we have 20 blogs that run on an every 1 to 2 week basis, all the way from California through New York. We even have one that's in England. So the site's just growing by leaps and bounds every year and looking to get bigger and bigger. Now,
recently you made a trip to Del Mar. How was that experience?
Well, I'd been to Santa Anita and I'd been to Hollywood Park, but I'd never been to Del Mar, and the opportunity came up to go down there. And it was just a fantastic experience. It's a beautiful track. They treated me well. I was able to go down to the paddock and on the track to take pictures, talk to people I needed to talk to. It was just a great experience. I was glad I got a chance to go down there.
And, of course, there were a lot of Northern California trainers down there running their horses, so you're familiar with those people.
Yeah, it's funny because it was right when Hollendorfer was about to win his 6,000th race, and I was meeting you and Tom in the press box for 2 weekends in a row trying to wait for that 6,000th win, and it didn't come, and when I went down to Del Mar, Jerry had been stable down there for the last 3 weeks or so, and I thought, well, maybe I'll be down with Jerry when the 6,000th win hits. Maybe I'll be down there. It turned out I was with Jerry, but the win came up here at Golden Gate. So it was fun to talk with him down there and talk with Art Sherman down there, who was a longtime Golden Gate Fields trainer here.
We're chatting with Don August. He's got a blog that he writes. A horse racing column comes out on Monday under HorseRacingNation.com. Now, in addition to writing this column and including pictures on the website, you've got into doing interviews, which also I imagine appear on the website, and you're you're going to start contributing some of these interviews, passing along to our listeners here on KNBR. And later on in the program, we're going to catch an interview you had with Kyle Frey. How does that work? Are those interviews available on the website, or how does that work?
Actually, they aren't. I have run a video on there one time. A couple of our bloggers do videos on their blog. I usually do just writing. But I found out that when I interview the jockeys and the trainers, when I write about them, when I tape record the interviews, I make sure I get the quotes right and make sure I get all the information that they say. And I come home and I listen to it, and then I think, this would actually make a real good interview. So when I talked to Kyle about 3 weeks ago when he was here visiting from Philadelphia, I put together a 3-minute clip of it, and that's what you guys are going to hear a little bit later. And I approached you about it, and we both liked the idea, and we're going to give it a shot. I want people to hear the people that they see at the track every day, not just view them.
Right. So this will add to our program of interesting people in the world of racing, and you get the sound bites and pass them along, and add, as I say, add to the listening pleasure of our horse racing audience. We're chatting with Don August of HorseRacingNation.com. He writes a racing blog. It comes out on Monday, in his racing column blog on Monday with HorseRacingNation.com. And Don recently on the fair circuit caught up with Kyle Frey, and we'll have that interview coming up here in a couple of minutes. I do want to remind you, today is Dollar Day out at Golden Gate Fields. It's also NFL Ticket, so we have a lot of action, and we'll be taking races in from Woodbine. That's our first card of the day, where today they have the Woodbine Mile, and we'll be discussing that with Larry Stooms. They'll also take races in from Arlington Park, Belmont, Turfway, Laurel, Monmouth Park, Louisiana, Hastings, and Emerald Downs, in addition to Golden Gate Fields and Fairplex. I want to remind you that we have a couple more weekends after today, and then we're going to take a little hiatus for 2 weeks when they run the big Fresno Fair. And Santa Anita will open on the 29th, coming up on the 29th of September, and that's going to kick off their preps races, their major stakes races, to the Breeders' Cup, along with Belmont. So in a couple of weeks, a lot of things are going to kick in gear. We're going to take a quick break here, and we're going to come back with Don August of HorseRacing.com's interview with jockey Kyle Frey.
Each year in California.
Be a lady tonight. This is Don August with HorseRacingNation.com, and today I'm spending 3 minutes with apprentice jockey Kyle Frey. Okay, so tell me how it felt to come back here for the last month.
It was great. I got to see family, friends, and it was just a real good experience. Out in Philadelphia, I'm working day and night, getting on about 12 head a day in the morning, so it was kind of good to come back here where you don't have to do as much. I hate to sound lazy, but, you need a vacation every now and then. I was just starting to get a little burnt out. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love going out there and winning because I've been getting a lot of good mounts, and I'm kind of blessed in that sense.
Right.
I got all the right people on my side, and so I'm just hoping when I go back it picks up even more now that I've come back here and done pretty decent for just popping out of thin air, Right. So hopefully that'll help me towards the Eclipse Award also. 'Cause that's my main goal,
Why did you feel important to ride during your vacation?
Well, because I'm a bug. You only get one bug. You can't really waste those kind of days. Every day is another dollar, that's for sure,
What have your highlights been over there so far? Anything that stands out as being really...
Well, I've been picking up a lot of allowance horses, which those horses will sometimes jump into a lower class stakes, those kind of things. So I'm hoping when I get back, a few of those little bad boys will pop into stakes, and I really want to start getting on those higher caliber horses, definitely. I feel like that'll help push my career, and then also look better when I lose my bug, that people trusted me on stakes horses, so obviously I was doing something right,
You left here with 10 wins, and you now have 71.
Oh, wow, I have that many?
Yeah.
Oh, geez, that's neat.
How was the reception when you came back? People, had they followed you at all?
Yeah, I know. I was really appreciative that a lot of people were actually very supportive of me. Some, you get those few that they just aren't as happy for you, because, you know how that goes. Some people are happy for you, some people aren't, but the majority of people were really happy for me. me, and that made me feel really good. That really helps my confidence when I'm out there riding, knowing that other people approve of how I'm doing.
Now that you came back here, you had some success. Trainers got to know you again. If you ever do come back here, do you feel you can fit right in with the jockey colony?
Yeah,
you won't have your bug.
I mean, I'm doing good for everybody, and it's not just that I'm doing good with good horses. I'm also bringing in the long shots, and as you saw the first day, it was like the second day I was back, I picked up a mount, and I didn't even have the bug on that one, and he blew him away, so that made me feel good that sometimes it's not always the weight, but the weight does help. Do not get me wrong, the weight helps a lot. That's a nice little advantage.
You don't help that much.
You talked about the Eclipse Award. That's something that's in your mind to try to win as many races
exactly.
as you can for that.
Yep. As many races I can and get as much money as I can, because it doesn't only go on wins. I found that out recently. You can win as many as you want. If you don't have the money in your pocket, you aren't getting it.
So that's why you go from track to track wherever the opportunity is.
As many mounts as I can ride, I'll be there. If I can make it, I'll be there.
All right, that was an interview that our guest Don August did with apprentice jockey Kyle Frey, who started his career here at Bay Meadows and then went back here in Northern California, then went back east. And he's a hot apprentice and trying to, as he says, take advantage of all the opportunities. And, I recall that Chris McCarron and Kent DeSormo, Don, they won 550, 60 races, and then DeSormo beat McCarron and almost won 600 races. They were riding night and day and night to take advantage of being hot, winning a lot of races, and trying to win the Eclipse Award, and also make a ton of money because they had the 5-pound weight allowance.
Yeah, Kyle's done really well back there. He also rides day and night. Sometimes he rides at Parks in the afternoon, and then he goes to 10 at night. Last meet over at Parks, he was the 6th leading rider, which was really good for him. The current meet that's going on right now has been just over 3 weeks. He's the leading rider right now with 16 wins. He's got, I believe, 81 for his career so far, and he's got a little more time to go to try to build that number up before the Eclipse voting goes in.
All right, well, we're glad to introduce you to our racing fans here on KNBR on At the Track. Don August, you catch him on horseracingnation.com. He writes a column on Monday, and so you racing fans looking for a little enjoyable, informative, entertaining stories about the world of racing, check out Don August of horseracingnation.com, and then periodically he'll submit a interview such as he did with Kyle Frey that'll add to our enjoyment in the world of racing. So thanks for being with us, Don. Have a good day on this Dollar Day Sunday and enjoy the football and the horse races, and we'll catch up with you down the road.
Thanks, Sam. I'll see you out there today.
All right, so Don August checks out the racing on the weekend, and then on Monday you can read about it on his column in horseracingnation.com. We're going to take